It's wedding day, but the chapel is eerily quiet. Holly Weber, in her satin gown, stands alone beneath the stained glass windows. The wedding's off, her fiancé vanished without a word. Instead of tears, Holly grabs a champagne bottle and throws a party in the garden, determined to turn heartbreak into something wild, fun, and defiantly hers. But in the shadows, Nick Donoghue, a shy banker who's barely crossed Holly's radar before, watches. What happens when the quiet guy suddenly decides to rewrite all the rules of romance? Stay tuned, because this is no ordinary love story. Holly's shock from the broken wedding quickly turns into something unpredictable. Instead of wallowing, she flips the script. But what does this defiance reveal about her and the scars she's hiding? When the wedding was abruptly canceled, Holly Weber didn't retreat. She threw a bash that lit up the whole block. Fireflies scattered over the backyard, laughter replacing the silence of broken vows. Her friends danced around her pain, but Holly's eyes searched for something new, freedom maybe, or a fresh start. The party was loud and reckless, but a secret whispered beneath the music. Could pain really be turned into power? Just then, a familiar figure enters the garden, shifting the night's energy. Turning heartbreak into wild celebration is like turning smashed glass into a mosaic. Instead of hiding the cracks, you embrace them, each shard a lesson, each edge sharp with new clarity. This mechanism, transforming pain into fiery energy, lets you reclaim control. Holly's party wasn't just defiance, it was an act of alchemy, turning loss into a dazzling new narrative. From that night on, Holly wasn't just an ex-fiancé, she was the spark everyone talked about. Her pain morphed into confidence, and that transformed how others saw her. We learned that letting pain fuel boldness doesn't erase scars but makes them shine. Holly's story proves heartbreak can birth a fierce new you, ready for the next chapter, unexpected and unstoppable. Nick Donoghue has always been like wallpaper, steady but unnoticed, but Holly's newly available. Suddenly, the shy banker imagines himself a daring suitor. How does a wallflower rewrite his script? Nick Donoghue had admired Holly from a distance for years. The shy smiles at coffee shops, the nervous sideways glances at work. But outside the banker's crisp suits, he was nobody's idea of a catch. When Holly's wedding blew up, Nick's pulse quickened. At the party, he swapped his usual tidy look for something with edge, leather jacket, loosened tie. Suddenly, the quiet guy was the center of attention, but could he keep this act authentic, or was it just a gamble? Imagine your personality as a well-organized filing cabinet, neat but predictable. Nick's sudden edge was like pulling out a wild, previously hidden file labeled Rebel Mode. This mechanism of change requires testing these new parts of ourselves to see if they fit the person we want to become. But it's always a risk. Will the new edge stick or slide back into the drawer? By taking that first step into uncharted territory, Nick realized the daring version of himself wasn't a mask but a new layer. His transformation paid off, not just with Holly, but with himself. Changing your image doesn't mean losing yourself, but discovering parts you've always had inside, waiting for the right moment to roar. Nick's switch is more than haircut and jacket. It's an injection of devil-may-care charm that exploded a nice guy stereotype. Why do we crave a little rebellion in love? Nick had always been the dependable nice guy, reserved, polite, a safe harbor. But women at the party started noticing the roguish glint in his eye, the mischievous grin replacing his usual straight-faced calm. Holly herself was thrown off. This wasn't the banker she'd glanced past in corridors. This moment exposed the trap of nice guy roles, that they can mask depth and allure as easily as they reveal dullness, leaving a question. Is rebellion the spark or a mask? Think of nice guy behavior like a well-rehearsed song, predictable, comforting, but easy to tune out. Nick's sudden rebellious streak was like an unexpected guitar solo, jarring maybe, but magnetic. Small acts of surprise, a joke that cracks convention, an eyebrow raise in defiance. These are the notes that bring charm and catch attention. It's not about being bad, but unpredictably human. The payoff? Holly found herself drawn into Nick's new rhythm, heartbeats sinking to a tempo she never heard before. The nice guy had traded safety for spark and gained a whole new dance partner, herself. This shift reveals a truth. Charm isn't about perfection, but daring to be delightfully unexpected. Holly's vow to have fun isn't just party talk. It's a radical antidote to love's heartbreak. How does choosing joy shift the whole game? Hurt from lost love usually breeds wariness, but Holly flipped the script. At her post-wedding party, she laughed louder, danced harder, and dared more risks. It wasn't just escapism. It was a declaration that love wouldn't own her sorrow. This choice shifted how her friends saw her, and more importantly, how she saw herself. With every shared smile and daring joke, Holly rewrote her story from victim to vibrant queen of her own heart. Think of fear and love like a shadow that stretches to cover every joyful spot. Choosing fun is like opening every curtain in the house, letting sunlight spill across the floor. It's an act of rebellion, deliberately favoring delight and connection over retreat and pain. This mechanism shifts nervous energy into electric, freeing Holly and us from being prisoners of past hurts. The breakthrough, Holly's new approach rewired her relationship expectations. It wasn't about perfect romance or guarantees. It was about presence, joy, and courage to be seen, even broken, even bold. Love wasn't a chain or a cage, but a playground. Choosing fun became her superpower, awakening a freshness that no heartbreak could silence. Nick's charm and Holly's courage collide, leading to a new kind of promise. But this isn't your usual wedding bell story. What does "I do" mean when rebuilt on authenticity? After the wild party, Nick and Holly found themselves alone under the lingering dusk. No classic vows, no grand aisle. Instead, they shared open truths, Nick's confession of fears, Holly's resolve to stay wild-hearted. This moment wasn't about perfect romance, but real connection. The "I do" they shared wasn't a promise to perfection, but a pact to honor each other's authenticity and joy. It was a quiet revolution, shaking the foundations of old expectations. Think of traditional vows as scripts written long before these two met. Their new promise is more like an improvised jazz riff, spontaneous, messy, and deeply personal. This mechanism moves commitment from the cages of fear and social obligation into the freer spaces of honesty and mutual respect. Love becomes an evolving truth, not a stagnant contract. The payoff? Holly and Nick's promise set a foundation that could handle storms without cracking. Their love story became one not of fairy tale perfection, but of real people daring to grow, change, and celebrate freedom together. Suddenly, "I do" felt like "I choose you" fully every day, and that's something we all can learn to embrace. Remember Holly's lonely wedding chapel? Now picture her laughing under string lights, alive and renewed. That night she took control, not by mourning a loss, but by throwing a party that rewrote her story. And Nick? He stepped out from the shadows to discover a bolder, freer self. Their journey shows that real transformation starts with daring to be imperfect, to surprise yourself, and to choose joy. So here's a tip. Next time love knocks you sideways, don't run from the pain, invade it, throw your own party, and let the new you dance right in. You might be surprised what happens next. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.